Hello everyone, I'm back with another video in Python. So today we will continue the fourth module, that is functions, modules and packages. In the last lecture we studied about functions and today we will start with modules and packages. Modules are Python files, that is they are files which end with .py extension. So modules contain Python code, functions, classes or variables that can be reused in other programs. While packages are collections of organized modules that are grouped together in a directory. A directory can be thought of as a container that contains files. So let's check out how to create modules. We are back in Replit now. Let's name this file main.py. It's here. In case you cannot find the file, like you might have a window like this. So you can just click on this button, open files, and click on your file, right click, rename. Let's name it math ops.py. Here it is. Here you can see I've used capital O. This is done to distinguish between different words in case you do not want to use an underscore. So let's start. Def add x comma y return x plus y. Next we will write def subtract x comma y return x minus y. So we're done with math.ops.py. Now you can see x and y are used as parameters for both the functions, and this will not result in any errors since the scope of these variables exist and end inside the functions that they are defined in. That is, they are local variables, which we had learned in the last lecture. Okay, let's write a new program now. Let's create a different file for it. You have to click on File down below here. Now you can name it main since this is our main program. Here we have it. So let's say sum equals math ops.py mathops.add 5,6 print sum. Then we have difference math ops dot subtract 5,6 print difference. Okay. So here we are calling the functions add and subtract in this way. Module name dot function name. This is the syntax for calling the functions from a module. Okay, this is something I missed here. We have to first import math ops. Math ops. Okay. So in this line, we have imported MathOps. Since MathOps is a module that we created, so if we don't import it, if we don't write this line, import MathOps, then we cannot use it in our program since it is a different file stored in a different area, right? So we have to invoke it. We have to let it know that we are trying to use whatever is the code in it in our programs. So here we have it. Since we imported this, and this is how you use a module in a program that you have written. So we can do it with predefined modules as well. It's not always that you have to create your own modules. Say we import math and let's write print math dot pow 2, 3. Okay. So this gives us the result of 2 raised to 3. So math is a predefined module in Python and we are importing it in our program to use a function that is defined in it. So it is the power function that just gives us 2 to the power 3. So that is 8. 8 is the answer. Here we have not created any module, we are just importing a predefined one. Predefined modules and functions are widely used for various purposes. Now let's learn how to use an external package. Using external packages, Python has a vast ecosystem of external packages. These packages are created by developers from around the world and can be easily installed. Python Package Index or PYPI. This contains thousands of packages that can be installed and used in Python programs. These packages range from simple utilities to complex frameworks. PIP or pip. It is a Python package manager that allows you to install and manage packages from PYPI. It stands for pip installs packages. It is included by default with Python installations starting Python 3.4. Pip can be used to install, uninstall, upgrade, and list install packages. Now, installing with pip is pretty simple. You can do it in the terminal of your coding platform. In my case, I'll be using VS Code. So let's go to VS Code now. And we have to open terminal from here. New terminal. Okay. So let's try pip install NumPy. Now you might have heard of NumPy. It is widely used by students. We'll be learning about this later in the course. Enter. So since I already have it installed in my machine, this is not doing anything else. In case you don't have it installed, this command would immediately initiate installation. And that could take up to a few minutes depending on your network connection. We can also try this pip list. This gives us all the packages installed along with the version information. So now for upgrading, we have to type pip install -- upgrade, say NumPy. You have to remember there will be no space between the last minus and the U. So this is also done, since I have the last updated version installed in my computer, this is not doing anything new. This command would basically install the latest version of the package for you. As you can see, you can also upgrade pip here. It's written here. We can just copy this and paste it here. Pip install -- upgrade pip. You can just upgrade pip itself. So next we have virtual environment. They are an isolated environment where you can install and manage packages without affecting other Python projects. They help us to avoid version conflicts. Different projects may require different version of certain packages. So if you have an isolated environment for your project, then that would not affect any other project in your system. So basically, whatever you install or upgrade here will not be reflected back to any other project in the same machine. There are two tools that help us create virtual environments, VirtualEnv and VNV. VirtualEnv, which is the third-party tool, it can be installed using pip install virtualenv. Pip install virtualenv. So you have to just click on enter and it will start installing. So it is written here, successfully installed. So this is how installation takes place using pip. And for creating a virtual environment, we have to type virtual env, which will not have a space in between, and say my env. Okay, let's check now. Okay, so we created a new virtual environment and you can see here it is, my env. This is what we created using VirtualEnv. VENV, on the other hand, or just VEnv, is a built-in Python module, therefore it does not require installation on Python Windows systems. In case of Ubuntu systems, however, you have to install it separately. So for creating a virtual environment using VENV, we have to type Python 3 -m, no space between minus and m, VENV, and say my env2 and press enter. So here is the new virtual environment that we created using VEnv. You have to first activate the created environment, for which you have a different procedure for different OS. In virtual environments too, we can use pip to install any packages we might require. Next up, we have how to make the code readable. Docstrings. These are used to describe the purpose, functionality, and usage of a program or a part of the program. Docstrings are also commonly known as comments. Now let's go back to the code that we had just written here. Now let's go to mathops.py, and here, right in the beginning of the program, of the module, here, let's type 3 quotes. 1, 2, 3. We'll have to check, since these days when you type one bracket, they just give you the other bracket like automatically. So you have to check that there has to be 3 quotes, not more than that. So the next line, let's write add hyphen adds 2 numbers and returns the result. Similarly, okay, you can just type the 3 quotes at the end as well, because other than that, they'll keep showing you errors. I'll tell you why you have to type 3 quotes at the end as well. Let's just subtracts okay. So this is the comment. This is the part of the program which will not be checked during the program run. Meaning, if I had made any spelling mistakes here, then it would not give us any errors. And the reason I told you to beforehand type the ending three quotes is because otherwise it was showing us errors and it was not letting us type. All right. So it's easier if you just type the three quotes first and then on the next line the other three quotes and then you start typing in the between. So basically in this area you can write anything you want to explain about the program. Okay. Here I have just written about the functions. You could also write what x and y are, and you can write like their parameters and like they add in for the function add, they add and give us the result, they are the numbers. So you can write anything you want to explain. I remember back when I had a course on programming and we had to submit assignments which were just us writing programs. So we were advised to write our names in the programs. So in that case I used to write my name, class, and suppose question number and anything like that in between these three quotes, like three up and three below. That's why. So this practice is also called commenting out a part, and it would just helps you to explain a code if suppose you are letting someone else read your code. In case you want to add just a line of information that will not be run during the program, you can just use hash. Uh, let's write the same line. This is for the function add, and for subtract, this can also be done. So you can see this will not give you any different result. And you can still use math ops in your program, like I had removed it. So either way, it will not give you any different result. So because these are not executed anywhere. So this makes your code readable. Even if someone else happen to use your code, they will know what each function or variable does. This is especially useful for when the code has many lines and variables and things may get confusing even for the one who has written the code. We can also add another point about code readability here, like how variables and function names should be as self-explanatory as possible. Like in this case, it's pretty simple to understand, but suppose if we had to calculate area or maybe profit, and you still named your variable x and the function add, that would make no sense, right? In that case, the function should be called calculate area, or like I had written in a function in some of the previous lectures, calc area, or maybe calculate profit or calc profit or something like that. And similarly, the variables should also be called length, breadth, or profit, area. We may not like to type more, and often we go for the shortcut method and may simply name the variable called profit as P, but I would advise against it. You should have the habit of naming your variables, functions, and even the code itself, keeping in mind readability and relevance of the said name. Next up, we have PEP 8 guidelines. So, it is a official style guide for writing Python code, and it provides conventions for code layout, naming, and design practices. It is a widely accepted standard for in the Python community. So, you can Google PEP 8 and you can check the website out. This is it, PEP 8 style guide for Python code. You can read about it here. While if you don't follow these rules, it's not like your code won't run, but it is still advised to follow these guidelines to make your code more readable, consistent, and maintainable. Now let's skim through these. Code layout, indentation. Use 4 spaces per indentation level, which means like we are indenting this line. So this should have 4 spaces. 4 spaces after where def starts. Like this is a 4 space span. Similarly, tabs or spaces. Now here it's written spaces are the preferred indentation method. Tabs should be used slowly to remain consistent with the code that is already intended with tabs. Maximum line length. Limit all lines to maximum of 79 characters. Like this is when you have a really long line to type, and you will have it at times. Blank lines. So it is advised to have a single blank line or 2 blank lines after each function, or like after you import a module. You can read through these to learn more. Like you can see here, there are a number of rules that you should be following. Also, imports should usually be on separate lines. Like this one, they are saying this is wrong. But trust me, it won't give you any error. But it is still advised to write it this way. Import OS, next line, import SYS. So here were a few rules. You can read through these. So we have come to the end of this video. So let's have a quick recap. We started off with modules and packages. Then we talked about using external packages. And then finally, code readability, docstrings, and PEP 8 guidelines. So this is the end of the 4th module of this course. And as always, let me know if you have any questions about any of the lectures. I hope this module was clear to you. You may have noticed how we have started using more technical terms now. You can comment down anything you found difficult to understand, and if you would want me to provide some more real world examples. Good luck to you. See you guys in the next video. Until then, bye bye.